basically overreacted and was like, "What? Your phone is ringing? That's not allowed. We're gonna fail you."
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we need to talk about Pearsonvue. My latest PMP video did very well, so I thought it'd be very prudent if we did a video just on the Pearsonvue exam experience. I know a lot of you are probably wondering whether to take the exam in person now that COVID's sort of gone, or whether to do it from home, just like I did back in December. With Pearsonvue, I think there's a lot of questions that you can't really find answers for online, and today's video is going to help answer those. If you've chosen to take the Pearsonvue route, then you've probably tried to go on Reddit, YouTube, Google, and look for answers as to how that experience is like, and I can tell you that there's no real answer. Even if you go onto Pearson's Vue website, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of information. When you read through Reddit or forums, you'll find that different people have different experiences with the Pearson Vue setup. Different proctors will fail you for different reasons. So I really wanted to give you a brief snippet of what my experience was like and also answer a few questions. So let's get right into it. What I have up on the screen here is my room that I had to set up the day prior to my Pearson Vue exam. So if you look at this room, this is obviously not what my room normally looks like. This is a ridiculous setup. I have a standing desk there, obviously cleared. So I have my monitors facing away from me. I didn't want to remove the whole monitor arm, so I really just bet on them not. I have just my laptop, and I decided to take the exam with my laptop only. Other than that, I cleared as much as possible from this room. There is a little bit of stuff on the left-hand side, but I think that's okay. I think a water bottle is fine, and I think you're allowed to have your phone in the room as well. More on that later. So this room here, you have to show the proctor the day of the exam, and they have to approve it, and they did. So this is fine. So normally I have much more stuff on my desk, but literally you gotta clear your whole room and your desk for this kind of exam. So this is the annoying part. It took me quite a lot of time to do this. The proctor did almost fail me, and so I'll get more into that later. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to address here is washroom. Can you go to the washroom? I can't believe how hard it was to find the answer to this. I actually couldn't find the answer to this. So actually, prior to this 4-hour exam, I had anticipated that I wouldn't get a chance to go to the washroom. So I had minimal drinking of water prior to the exam and even during the first segment of the exam. But fortunately, during my break, I asked the proctor if I was able to go to the washroom. The proctor allowed me to, so I quickly went and quickly came back, just to minimize the time I was away from the screen. As you all know, you need to be in frame on the screen, not looking like you're talking, not looking like you're doing anything. You need to stay still, and that's it, or else they might fail you. So going to the washroom was definitely iffy, and if you read forums, there's differences of opinion with that, and even different proctors have different ideas about that, but my proctor allowed me to go to the washroom, so I did so on each break. Really quickly though. So that's that, but my recommendation is make sure you talk to the proctor first about that. Make sure you talk to the proctor about everything. Actually, any questions you have, ask the proctor prior to the exam starting. The second question that I'm going to answer is with regards to your phone. So they say that you need to have your phone with you in the room just in case there's technical difficulties, they can call you. But for me, my phone rang during the exam. So when I asked, the proctor basically overreacted and was like, "What? Your phone is ringing? That's not allowed. We're gonna fail you right off the bat." So in a desperate exam, I just said, no, like it's off now. It's not ringing. Something like that. And I think the proctor just kind of let it go, but the proctor basically said in the chat, no phone ringing calls are allowed, even though the website says you gotta have the phone with you nearby so that if they wanted to call you, they could. So that was a very iffy situation. So if your phone rings, just deal with it in a way where you don't talk to the proctor about that. That's my advice. Another tip I learned prior to going into this exam is if you're like me and you're using a Mac as shown in my screenshot here, then you want to turn off, and you also have an iPhone, you want to turn off that feature that basically says when your iPhone rings, your Mac also rings. You want to turn that off because apparently that messes with the software. To do this, just open FaceTime on your Mac, go to Preferences, and then you just uncheck this box right here, calls from iPhone, and that will disable that feature. So the final tip I have for you is don't stress out too much about calculators or whiteboard. You will have a pretty bad calculator through the software and a pretty bad whiteboard. You're not allowed pens, you're not allowed writing anything. But honestly, what do you need to write? You think you need to write down the formulas, but to be honest, the EV calculations they didn't even exist on my exam, and when they did, it was so easy to compute that I could just use my brain. They aren't testing you whether you can memorize a formula and then calculate something. They are testing you whether you understand the result of an EV calculation and what that means. Are we behind schedule, over schedule? They want you to know how to interpret the result. So that was it. I just wanted to show you my room right here. If you're like me and you have a lot of clutter on your desk with dual monitors, and I actually have much more than this on my desk, it's super messy normally, you literally have to spend probably an hour the previous day clearing up your room. I highly recommend you just use your laptop because the fewer the things, the fewer things to worry about. That was my mentality, so I didn't want to risk having to use my external monitors, external keyboard. The only thing external I used here was my mouse, but even then I thought about just using the trackpad, to be honest, but I kept the mouse there. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. So let's recap a bit. This video's scope was specifically about Pearsonvue. Now, if you're still deciding whether to take the exam using Pearsonvue versus going to the center, then let me offer my 2 cents. If you go on Reddit, there's a ton of threads here that talk about not only the PMP exam, but whether to do it on Pearsonvue or going to the exam center. And there's varying degrees. On one hand, the people who prefer to go to the exam center usually has had a bad experience taking it online from home. The Pearsonvue experience isn't perfect. You could encounter a number of different problems. Fortunately for me, even with my prep, I only encountered that one cell phone ringing problem, but it could have been a lot worse. I know a lot of people have webcam problems, audio problems, timing issues, the proctor wasn't there. There's so many issues that can go wrong when you're doing it from home. My 2 cents was this: regardless of COVID, taking it at the exam center means that you're in a room with potentially other people. And when you're with other people, there's always a potential for the other person to make various noises that might disturb you. I don't know about you, but for me, I need pitch quiet in order to concentrate on something, especially like an exam. And when I was going for university, I had so much trouble taking exams in a room full of other people, because the worst is when somebody starts whispering the question or whatever they want to whisper. It's really bad. Or even just noises, rattling noises. I can't stand that. If you're like me and you're sensitive to stuff like that, then yeah, take it from home. Just prepare for Pearsonvue, you should be fine. If you're not that sensitive, then to be honest, I'd take it the traditional route. I'd go to the exam center because there's too many things that could go wrong when doing it from home. There's other things to consider too that are lower on my list. Like, I don't really care about comfort or anything like that. To me, yeah, home is a little bit more comfortable, but to be honest, it's an exam. No matter where you're taking it, it's not comfortable in my opinion. The other is commute. The final thing is scheduling. So there's a lot of things to consider. For me, the exam center is just 5 minutes walk away from me, but I still chose to take it from home. But if you're living very, very far from an exam center, then yeah, obviously you want to take it from home. And then finally, you've got COVID-19. So like, if you're paranoid about COVID, then don't take it from then take it from home. I know I am. If I took it from an exam center, I'd be wearing a N95 mask the whole time. For me, that's fine, but in a 4-hour exam, you probably want to have access to 100% of your oxygen. But up to you. So those are just sort of things that I would think about if I were you. Those things weren't the scope of this video, but I just wanted to offer this as my 2 cents at the end of this video now that we've covered the main scope of the video, which was how my Pearsonvue setup was. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like, comment down below on any questions, and I will respond to each and every one of you, just like my previous video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.